Universal Pictures invites you to a world before time, before civilization, before America's favorite Stone Age family was a family. To the town of Bedrock, where something exciting was about to happen.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones.
Hi there guys, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel called Blast and the Past. And today I have another short review, so this time it will be a very quick one, to the point. I'll try to do my best to keep it as short as possible, because it's a spontaneous one, so basically it will be my opinion on the film called The Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas, from the early 2000s. Maybe it was released in 2001, so like I said, I'll try to introduce as little editing as possible, because it needs to be pretty spontaneous. I don't have too much time, unfortunately, to record my reviews, but if I have a couple of minutes, why not? Why not give it a go, yeah? So it's like I said, there is no script, no nothing, so I'll just play it by ear, so to speak, alright? So as you can see, this is the direct sequel to The Flintstones, produced by Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg presents The Flintstones.
Starring John Goodman, Rick Moranis, amongst many other famous actors, like Elizabeth Taylor also, as Fred's mother-in-law. And this one, so it doesn't feature such big names, such big stars. So the cast was changed for the sequel, and actually it was produced several years after the first one, the first outing. That's why perhaps the producers decided to come up with the idea for a sequel. And actually this sequel, so it is a continuation, but in terms of the plot itself, it's a prequel. So it takes place before the events presented in the first one. So they are much younger, so they are in their 20s, I think. I'm not sure, but they started their first real job.
This is an exciting time for us, isn't it, Barney?
Sure, Fred. No job, no money, no women. Things are really looking up.
And they are looking for love, so for romantic interests. And actually it's pretty funny, I would say, the beginnings. But to be honest, the storyline presented in this film is a little bit in a conflict with the original Flintstones, I mean the film. Because some things are not quite there, not right. So in the first one, like they mentioned that they met in such a way, or they never did that, and they do it here. So there is no consistency sometimes, but it doesn't affect the viewing experience, to be honest. It's not a brand new item, it's a used version, and it's pretty worn out. This is the cover, but it looks nice. It is the Polish edition, but it has several language options. No Spanish, unfortunately. I'm a fan of this one, so no Spanish for me.
Universal Pictures und Emblem Entertainment präsentieren das erste prähistorische Prequel der Filmgeschichte. Get ready to rock!
But it's full screen, like good old films, yeah, from the 90s, from the early 2000s. They like that format, as you can see. So, okay. Actually, I like the cover, but also I love everything connected to Las Vegas.
What's that smell?
Oh, that would be me. I've been swimming in raw sewage. I love it. I love it!
The splendor, the panache, the lights, neon lights, this is great. Whenever a film is set in this kind of setting, so it already gets some additional points in my books, in my case. I just love it. On top of that, this film features the famous hit Viva Las Vegas. In this case, it's Viva Rock Vegas, performed by Anne Margaret. So this is interesting. In this one, instead of Viva Las Vegas, so of course it's Viva Rock Vegas. Viva, Viva Rock Vegas. Oh, that was fun. And the cast is not very well known. So there are no big names apart from Joan Collins replacing Elizabeth Taylor from the first one.
No one has ever talked to me like that before.
And perhaps the biggest name is Baldwin. So actually it's Stephen Baldwin, one of the lesser known brothers. So he's never been as famous as Alec Baldwin or William Baldwin. And there is also Daniel Baldwin. So there are four of them.
Waka waka wee!
what I can say about the plot. So it takes place before the original Flintstones from the 1990s. And I have to say that it's pretty fluent. It has this flow. Like I always keep saying that the story needs to have this flow. It needs to be easy to follow. You need to be able to summarize it to tell what the film actually was about. And I like it because it has some charming moments. Actually, Fred at the beginning is dating Betty.
You want a date? Your little friend want a date too?
Barney, tonight we
And
shall.
Barney is with Wilma. And then they switch and they hit it off immediately afterwards. And I was pretty surprised to find out that the budget for this film, it was pretty big, around $80 million. And it flopped at cinemas, unfortunately. It earned maybe something in the neighborhood of $50 million, so that's disappointing. And I've always thought, I don't know, that it was like a direct-to-DVD sequel, direct-to-home video sequel. Like only for VHS, for the television. I don't know, I had this thing in my mind because but on the other hand, I have a very soft spot for this one. I love the first one, but this one, of course, it's worse. It doesn't have exactly the same entourage, the same bright ideas. The CGI is not there, but even in the first one, the CGI was pretty poor. But in terms of the props and everything used, like the decorations, if the CGI is not used, they look still okay. So I was surprised when I was watching it, like even rewatching it right now. So I thought, wow, actually it looks pretty impressive visually. And then I found out that it was a cinematic release, like a normal worldwide global release with a big budget. So that's a shame that it flopped because it's a simple but not simplistic film, a family comedy, and really, I have to defend this film. And on IMDB, there are many positive comments actually praising the film, that it's not as bad as people tend to think. Like, the average score is around 4 something. I think it's a blasphemy, really. It deserves something around 7 out of 10. It's just pure fun. It's simple, it's pure fun, the plot is predictable, but it's not about that. It's not supposed to be the next 7.
Who's in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Yeah, or whatnot. It's not the point to be surprised. It's the point of watching those kind of films is to enjoy them, to have a few laughs, to have fun. Watch them even with your whole family, with children, with posterity, why not? And this is this kind of film.
Wow, you got a really great
I
laugh.
think that the DVD quality is pretty serviceable. It's not the best, hands down the best DVD I've ever seen, because I have my own favorites in this category. I can't recall it right now, but recently I've been surprised with one of just mere DVD releases, like extremely surprised. But this one, it holds its own in terms of DVD, in terms of the picture quality. The sound, I don't pay too much attention to that, so it's not my cup of tea. But visually it's okay, it's only a DVD, so I'm not getting any Blu-ray release. Although there are some Blu-ray releases, I think that there's a German one, even like a double pack with the first one. I have the first one on Blu-ray, it looks decent for this format. And this one, DVD needs to suffice, really. Especially that generally it's dirt cheap. Alright, so I've managed to dig out the Blu-ray edition of the Flintstones from my collection. So this is it, and as you can see on the screen, this is the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. So this is this one. The DVD I've been talking about, and this is the Blu-ray edition of the first Flintstones. And actually they were released according to the description. We have... this edition is from 2014, but the film obviously it was released in 1994, and this one, 2000. Yes, according to this, to the description, to the label, it's from 2000. So roughly, that's interesting. 6 years. 6 years between this one and the prequel. Actually, I've seen it several times, even on Blu-ray, maybe 2 times, and I remember that the picture quality was pretty good. It was a serviceable edition. Nothing too fancy, but really for a catalog without any extra anniversary edition, so I think it was worth the price of admission, so to speak. And here it is. And this is so fantastic because even on this title screen, you can see this climate of Las Vegas oozing out of it, oozing out of the screen. So this is great. And there's also a nice opening music. So I don't want my video to be blocked or demonetized, if it makes any sense, if it makes any difference at all. But maybe why not? Let's unmute it. So maybe why not? Let's unmute it. Oh, this is the list of chapters available on this DVD, and actually the first part it starts with Gazoo, and this is the opening sequence. So they introduce him, and he's sent to Earth to study the mankind.
Okay. Almighty Gazoo, I'd like a big juicy Bronta burger. Hey, it works! How about $20?
This is what I was talking about. So it starts with this opening sequence and it presents Gazoo. It's the character from the cartoon. So many people don't like this person. They claim that actually with the introduction of this character in the Flintstones, the cartoon finished. That was, like I said, the beginning of the end. I don't mind, to be honest. It was a little bit maybe something different, out of the box, whether it was in a good way or a bad way, so I'm not one to judge it. It's not for me to judge. I wouldn't know. Okay, pretty nice. And as you can see, the picture quality is pretty crisp, pretty sharp for a DVD, standard DVD release. So, of course you could upgrade it to Blu-ray, why not? It's always better to have the best option possible in terms of the picture, the audio quality. But it does the job pretty well, I would say. And even the font is in this Las Vegas style, so this is great. This, like I said, the atmosphere, the climate, it's oozing out of the screen, especially that this is the full screen edition. And you see, this is not John Goodman, and this is I don't even remember his name, and this is Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers, instead of Rick Moranis. See, early CGI, let's say that was 2000, so actually this one doesn't look that bad, half as bad, right? So that's it, great. I love those aerial shots. You see, even the title itself, so it's with this special font, and I love it. I love the climate of Las Vegas, and this is Rock Vegas. Really, so I'm pretty happy with this purchase, and I could highly recommend it. And I think it's worth having this film.
I'd buy that for $1.
It's not as good as the original one, but it has its own pros, and it has its own charm. And many people criticize it for the plot, that it's not exactly like the first one, not as fresh, not as original, released many years ago. The budget maybe not there, maybe they went a little bit cheap with some things. I don't feel it. And the atmosphere of Rock Vegas, which is of course their version of Las Vegas, this is, I'm a sucker for it. So to me, any film set in this kind of setting, so it already gets extra points, like I've already mentioned. For example, there is a nice film from the 70s, I think, with Warren Beatty and Elizabeth Taylor, called The Last Game in Town. So I have the Spanish release.
Am I hot or am I hot? Oh, it's the only game in
Again, or for example, Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage, another fantastic film set in Vegas. Or there is like the final part of Con Air, also takes place in Vegas. Actually, they destroy the whole city, and this is what I love. Like I said, the lights, the music, the atmosphere of fun, of sheer fun, gambling, poker, roulette. This is great. And actually, this problem of addiction to gambling is present in here in one of the subplots. But don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil this.
The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas.
One more thing, in comparison with the first one, finally Betty looks much more attractive, just like in the cartoon. In the cartoon, in the original one, so Betty, I think that she always was more attractive than Wilma, yeah? And in the first one, so they screwed it up because Rosie O'Donnell was cast as Betty, so that was pretty controversial.
Maybe it won't be such a big adjustment after all.
They also added another subplot, which is with Gazoo. This is like a Martian, he comes from another planet, to watch our mankind, or humankind should I say. So it's also there. It's from the cartoon, but I think that Gazoo appeared later on, and like he wasn't a fan's favorite. Actually, I think that many people claim that that was the beginning of the end for the cartoon, and in here, you know, I don't have anything against it. Okay, they tried to come up with something fresh, something new, and they paid homage to the cartoon, so it's okay. Maybe without it, if it was more grounded in reality, as much as it can be grounded in reality. Come on, it's the Flintstones after all. So, in terms of that,
Oh, I wish I could, I really do.
So you're just gonna let this happen?
maybe it would have been better if they had got rid of it, but it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. It's quite okay. To sum up this short review, like I said, I feel that I need to defend this film, because many people in comments, they also defend Viva Rock Vegas, the sequel, but generally the average score on IMDb and other websites devoted to films, they are very low. The average score, the average rating is horrible, around 3-4 out of 10. So this is a joke, this is a disaster. And I don't think this film deserves such a bad reputation. Whenever it was on the telly, when I was a fan of television, I would watch it and rewatch it and come back to it. So it was always played at the weekends, actually on Sundays, just before the school would start. And that was my introduction to this, again, another school week.
Effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, past the, anyone? The tariff.
They had this special kind of initiative that there was some family comedy, yeah, on the Sundays at around 2 o'clock. So I have a very big, huge soft spot, a weakness for it. So I may be looking at it through pink tinted glasses a little bit, so you have to forgive me for that. But I love both of these parts. Or maybe I should say that I love the first one, the first Flintstones, with John Goodman and Rick Moranis, one of his final roles, if not the last one, as an actor, not a dubbing actor, voice artist.
I forgot to punch out.
And this one, I like it. I like it also. I can't believe that people hate it so much. There's so much hate directed towards this sequel. Of course, probably it could have been better, but I think it could have been much worse. And at least you can still see some heart and some passion poured into this motion picture. And this is the most important thing, because if something is a soulless, lifeless product, like many films are currently, it's visible, extremely visible. And in this case, so even the shots are pretty nice, there are some aerial shots, and you can admire the decorations, the budget channeled into the decorations, into the scenography. And apart from the poor CGI, but that was still the early 2000s, and at least it pays homage again to the first one, because in the first one, whenever there was some CGI, so it wasn't good either. Yeah, it was no Jurassic Park, the first one. Thank you guys very much for your attention. So I hope that you have enjoyed this short review. I would like really strongly recommend this film to those who haven't seen it, or those who have seen it maybe, but they haven't paid enough attention to it, and give it another chance, give it a go, one more time. If the second one doesn't work for you, okay, so I give up, I rest my case. But maybe it will hit the right tone finally. Maybe it will strike the right chord this time around. I also like to come back to some films because sometimes I am pleasantly surprised. So I really hope that you decide to visit Rock Vegas, circa, I don't know, the prehistoric times, and I don't know exactly the setting. So let's get it rolling, guys. Thank you very much, and until the next time, cheers, I'll catch you up later.
Thanks for the invite. You know, I never been inside a place this big without paying admission.
It starts actually, this is the opening with...
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg.